In the previous lesson, we defined a new substitution for the profit center field. And now we want to show the way in which we can test the definition before we activate the substitution. And well, for this, we will use what we call the simulation function. In this screen, let's select the line for our substitution. And we'll choose the substitution menu to select the simulate function. The compiling of the coding starts, and when it finishes, now the system is just showing a list of parameters that we should complete to test this the definition of this substitution. So let's start with the GL account. In this first execution, we will enter a correct values that we define in the prerequisite, so that the prerequisite is true, and the ID of the profit center gets substituted with YB600. So for this, let's just enter now the account 41,000,500. The tax code, we can enter either A0 or 10. So let's enter A0. And then we will just pretend again that the user is entering a wrong profit center. So that means any other profit center different than YB600. So for this, we will use profit center T-PCA09, for example. I know, 15, for example. Which again, this is not the correct profit center given this account and this tax code. So the system will realize that this is not correct, and it will replace with the correct one, which is YB600. So, let's execute the program, the simulation. And as you can see, it was successful because all the preconditions were met, so the condition status is true, and the substitution comes into effect. So now the profit center field, what the system will do is will delete whatever T-PC that we enter, PCA that we enter, and it will substitute with the correct ID, which is YB600. Now, it's equally important to test that the system will not carry out the substitution if some of the preconditions are not met. So for example, maybe if we use a different GL account, then and we enter a profit center such as T-PCA 15, then that profit center is correct. It shouldn't be substituted for YB600. So we want to test this. So let's go back one screen. And again, let's enter a different account, for example, which is going to make that the precondition is false. So, for example, we could use 41,000,555. So it's a different account, and again, the precondition is not going to be met, so the system should not run the substitution. But for this now, we want a valid tax code valid for the prerequisite, which could be again A0. And let's enter the profit center, for example, the correct one, which could be again T-PCA 15, for example. Now, in this scenario, this is the correct profit center, so the system should not modify. So let's run this again. And as you can see, the screen is completely different. Now the condition is just false, the prerequisites are not met, and the system will not substitute. This is exactly what we want, so let's go back. And now, the last thing we need right now is just to activate our substitution. So for this, we have to go back to the list of company codes. We are now completely confident that the definition was done correctly. So let's for this question that if we want to exit the simulation, let's say yes. And again, we want to activate, so we have to go back actually 1, 2, 3, like 4 times to get back to the list of company codes. And here, well, we need to set up an entry for our company code. So for this, let's click in New Entries. And of course, we first need to enter the ID of our company code. So let's just go with TA15, which is the one that we have been using for this demo. Now we need to select what will be the column point. So we want column point 0002. So let's use the match code so we can show you a bit better. This is the one for line item. So select that one. And of course, the next field is really important because this is the one in which we can, well, we have to select what substitution should be called up for this company code. So let's use the match code. And actually, well, we only have like one new substitution that is possible for this column point. So it's the one that we created. Let's select that one. And finally, well, we have the last column, which is called activation level. And well, if we want this to be active, we have to enter 1 so that the substitution now is active. Okay. Of course, at some point we could just come here and deactivate this, for example, entering just a 0. But well, right now, what we want is just to have this active. And once we have done this, let's just save our settings. We accept the customizing request. And with this, well, the system will just say that the data was saved successfully. So we can just quit the transaction. And with this, we are just finishing this lesson. But of course, we are also inviting you to keep learning with the next one, in which we will see, we will have a test in Fiori to check the consequence of the activation, the definition and activation of this substitution.